Most High, whose true name in Hebrew is Yahweh, in the name of his only begotten Son, whose true name in Hebrew is Yahweh Shai, and the Holy Spirit, which in Hebrew is the Ruach Kodash. Double honors to the elders and apostles by the Holy Spirit, who taught us his truth. Honors to the brothers, begging their bodies a living sacrifice to do the work of the Lord. Peace and blessings to the hopeful elect. The hopeful elect would be the so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, and Seminole Indians who make up the lost 12 tribes of Israel, according to scripture and according to prophecy. But the hopeful elect being 1/3 of these people who are going to return back to the Most High and receive salvation, while the 2/3 of our people who don't turn back to the Most High be destroyed in judgment. So we back with another lesson through the mercy of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shah. And this is going to be part 2 to the lesson that I did yesterday. So this will be part 2, the mark of the beast is physical. Analyzing the word mark in Revelation 13-16. So the point of this lesson, we're going to show that the mark of the beast is physical. And to do that, we're going to look in depth into the word mark. The word mark when you say mark of the beast. And again, continuing on from yesterday, had individuals say that the mark of the beast was sin, that the mark of the beast was sleeping with the white woman, and that's because they subscribe to IUIC. And this in case it was any new believers, new listeners on, which they waking up every day. We want to go ahead and tackle this. So we're going to look at this word mark. But first, let's read the precept. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. And we got yesterday, this word causeth pretty much goes into mandate, or to require, or to enforce, or to force all people to receive a mark. And we went into it yesterday. Receive, when you look at it in Greek, it means to give. You know, someone gives something to another. But we're going to look at this word mark. And again, the mark in the right hand would be the RFID microchip, which would be a digital wallet, digital ID, and much more. The mark in the forehead would be the different brain chips, you know, that these tech giants are developing. So let's look at this word mark. Charagma. Let's click it. G5480. Charagma. So let's go here to outline the biblical usage. So this word mark, it says a stamp. Let's look up this word stamp. Let's see if a stamp is something physical. So stamp. Let me scroll down. Let's see what we're looking for. Stamp. It says to impress a pattern or mark, especially an official one, on the surface. What's the mark that's getting pressed into the surface of the skin? It'll be this RFID microchip. And it says on the surface. What's the surface? The surface of the skin. The object. What's the object? Your hand. Or in the case of the neural brain chip, it would be the forehead. But again, to impress a pattern or mark, especially an official one, on the surface or object. But let's get this word impress. So the mark of the beast cannot be sin, because the mark will be a stamp that will go on the surface of the body. It says to impress apply a mark to something with pressure. See that? A stamp. And we looked at that word impress. And how do you get the RFID microchip? Well, it says to apply a mark to something with pressure. What's the pressure? This needle going into the skin. Like right here. The RFID microchip is being impressed into the skin. Now back to this word mark. It says a stamp and imprinted mark. Let's look at this word imprinted. So to imprint, it says impress, which means to apply pressure. So impress or stamp a mark or outline on a surface or body. So imprint is something being stamped or impressed into the surface of the body. And that surface of the body would be the skin, as in the case with the mark of the beast that goes in the right hand. Check this out. A mark made by pressing something onto a softer substance. What's that softer substance? You know, the softer surface of the skin. It says, so that its outline is reproduced. Then after the mark or the RFID microchip is pressed into the skin, you have an outline of it, like as we see here. So again, a mark made by pressing something onto a softer substance. And that would be into the skin, so that its outline is reproduced. But you see that? You got the outline of the RFID microchip. Now let's look at some more of these examples here. It says of the mark stamped on the forehead or the right hand as the badge of the followers of the Antichrist. But see, it got that word badge. So this RFID microchip, it will be stamped, imprinted, impressed into the surface of the skin, representing a badge. Now, let's look up this word badge. A distinctive emblem worn as a mark of office, membership, achievement, licensed employment. So yeah, this RFID microchip, it will allow you to be employed. And to explain that, let's go back to Revelation 13-16 and get through verse 17. It says, and he causeth, meaning to acquire, to make mandatory all, both small, great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark. The mark is going to be given in their right hand and in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. So you're not going to be able to buy or sell. You're not going to be able to spend money or receive payment. That's employment. And the RFID microchip in the hand, this would be your badge. When you think of a badge, you could think of like an ID, a form of identification. So the RFID microchip, the mark of the beast that goes in the right hand, it will be like a digital badge, digital ID, digital wallet for a digital currency. The CBDC, Central Bank Digital Currency, Universal Basic Income. Look those up. So the RFID microchip, it represents the badge. Pretty, it shows who you following. That you not a follower of the Lord, but you a follower of the world, which the whole world is Antichrist. It says the mark branded upon horses. So everything we see here, the different examples, the mark, when you say mark of the beast, the mark is something visible, something that can be seen. But that's why 17 say that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark. So when they make mandatory this RFID microchip for you to buy and sell, just like they tried to make mandatory the hokey pokey, the JAB in 2021, well, to make it mandatory, you're going to have to see it. It got to be something physical that you can verify. It can't be sin. You can't see sin where you go to the store and be like, yeah, I sinned today. Let me buy something. No, you can't stamp sin on the body. You can't imprint sin on the surface of the skin. But again, the market would need to be something that they can see, that they can enforce, that they can, verify. Who got it and who don't got it. That's why they would know who to penalize, who to put restrictions on. Those who got the mark, the RFID microchip, versus those who don't. Just like, different businesses and establishments was doing in America, that you can't come in here unless you receive the JAB. You can't come in here unless you got on the mask. That was all practice for what they're going to do with the mark of the beast, which is the RFID microchip, which is something physical. But it says a thing carved. Now let's look up this word carved. It says of hard material. See, this is of hard material. It's made out of what? Plastic, metal, quartz crystal. But check this out. Of hard material cut or engraved to produce an object. Ain't this an object? So the mark would be something physical. Sin is not an object. Sin is not a material. Sin it's an idea that begins in the mind, and it's an action that's played out in the flesh. But sin is not something that's cut or carved out of hard material. Now let's get this word sculpture. Sculpture, the art of making three-dimensional, representative, or abstract forms. So again, the art of making something three-dimensional. The RFID microchip is something that's three-dimensional. Sin is not three-dimensional. Sin is an idea and it's an action. It's not an object. Sin is not something you can physically measure. Like you can measure the dimensions of it. You can measure how long it is, how wide it is. And again, what are we looking at? The word mark. When you say mark of the beast. So a stamp, an imprinted mark, a badge, something carved, something that was sculpted. When something that was sculpted, it was shaped, it was made a certain way. And it says, especially by carving stone or wood, or by casting metal and plaster. And that's what the RFID microchip is. It's metal and plaster. Metal, plastic, primarily. Check this out. Raised or sunken patterns or texture on the surface of a shell. But let me put up this other image. What do we see right here? A raised pattern. A raised pattern or texture on the surface of a biological specimen, meaning something living. So this is raised, meaning it's rising up through the skin. Look, to make or represent a form, meaning an object, by carving, casting, or other shaping techniques. So the mark of the beast, which is the RFID microchip, and which is also the Neuralink brain chips, it was made, it was shaped a certain way. Look, form, shape, or mark as if by sculpture, especially with strong, smooth curves. RFID microchip is something that's curved and smooth. So the RFID microchip is the mark of the beast. The mark of the beast is something physical. You can't deny it. And then just a random thought I'm gonna throw in here that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark. Well, paper money is gonna be phased out. US dollar is gonna be done away with. It's gonna be a total economic collapse, a total collapse of the US dollar, any form of it. So the new form of money is gonna be a digital currency, such as, Bitcoin. But the digital currency that's going to be the new form of money is going to be owned by the government. So that's why it's called the central bank digital currency. Central meaning it's owned by the government. That's going to be the new form of money. So what? No man can buy or sell, save he that had the mark. Then when you read this in the NLT, no one could buy or sell anything without that mark. You're not going to be able to buy or sell anything without this RFID microchip. And they did that on a softer level with the hokey pokey. You can't come in here, can't spend no money unless you can show us your status. If you receive the JAB for not or not. But and then even here, hold on, we're gonna get one more thing real quick. So back to Revelation 13 to 16, looking at this word mark, graven work. Let's see if anything comes up. A bunch of BS. But the mark of the beast, again, is something physical. But let's go to the Strong's info. The Charagma. It says a scratch or etching. Let's get this word scratch, because we know a scratch is something physical when you scrape the surface of something. But let's look up this word scratch. It says to score or mark the surface of something with a sharp or pointed object. See that? So to mark the surface of something, to mark the surface of the skin with a sharp or pointed object. What is it? It's that needle that injects the RFID microchip into your right hand. Again, a mark, to mark the surface of something, which would be the surface of the skin, with a sharp or pointed object. So the mark is something physical that's going to be on the body. Something that the world can see. It says make a long, narrow, superficial wound in the skin. So yeah, even the word scratch, when we come to this word mark, which is charagma in the Greek, the scratch is for the most part dealing with the body, penetrating the surface of the skin. make a long, narrow, superficial wound in the skin. Superficial meaning it's on the surface. And it's literally a wound on the surface of the skin because the RFID microchip is implanted right below the skin. Now let's see if anything else stands out here. Maybe not, but it says scratch or etching. Let's get this word etch. See if anything pops up. It says for etch, it says to cut or carve on the surface. So the RFID microchip is etched into the skin. It's etched into the surface of the skin. Etch, it says cause to stand out or be clearly defined or visible. So the RFID microchip is going to be etched into the skin in a sense, meaning it's going to be visible. It's going to be clearly visible, clearly defined. You can look at it and know what it is without question. So again, the mark of the beast is not sin. Sin, you know, it's not always visible. So yeah, the mark of the beast is something physical. It's the RFID microchip. And then when you look at this word mark, um, we looked at the word stamp. We look at the word imprinted or to impress. We looked at the word badge. It's something physical. We looked at the word carved, sculpture. It's something physical that goes into the surface of the skin. So it's scratch or etching. And we got the word stamp. And again, we got the word badge. But let's get it again. And then just real quick, it says as a badge of servitude. And what's that servitude? You working in society. But let's get this word badge again. A distinctive emblem worn as a mark of office membership, achievement, licensed employment. That's your servitude, your place of employment. So the badge is something that gives you permission. It gives you permission or the privilege to work, because you can't work without an ID. You can't work without that badge. But that's going to be the case with the RFID microchip. And that's why when you read Revelation 13 and 17, that no man can buy or sell save he that had the mark. So if you refuse the mark, which is RFID microchip, how you going to receive payment? That's why all, companies, they don't do paper checks no more. Most places do direct deposit into a bank. Eventually that direct deposit is going to be on the RFID microchip. It's going to be your digital wallet. Let's see if anything comes up. So yeah, a badge of servitude. The RFID microchip is going to be a digital badge, your digital ID, digital wallet, a sculpture, figure, statue, graven, mark. The mark of the beast is something physical. Let's see if anything else come up here. Let's look up this word branded. the mark branded upon horses. And that'd be the last thing for the day. It says livestock marked with a branding iron. So again, to be branded it's a way of identifying something. It's a way of identifying cattle. Well, that's going to be the case to RFID microchip. You're going to be branded with the RFID microchip. And that's going to be the new form of identification. That's why you got the key, the ID, and the wallet. So yeah, man, the mark of the beast is something simple. Again, it's not sin. And we looked at all of these words in depth, you know, multiple definitions for each word, and gave examples, showed picture. The mark of the beast is physical, man. It's not sin. It's not sleeping with the white woman. Sleeping with the white woman is not a stamp. Sleeping with the white woman is not an imprinted mark. Sleeping with the white woman is not you being branded. Sleeping with the white woman is not something carved or a sculpture. Sin is not a badge as a form of identification. And then when we got this word etch, it says something that's clearly visible. We got the word scratch. It says to make a mark on the skin with a sharp or pointed object. That's not sin. And then we got the word carved or sculpture. It's something that's physical, something that can be measured, something three-dimensional. So the mark of the beast is physical. It's the RFID microchip. No coincidence that Dr. Oz is being put over Medicare. And what did he say years ago? Imagine what the microchip can mean for your health. You're not going to receive health care or health coverage except you got the mark. That's why Revelation 13:17 said that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark. That includes health insurance. And it's no coincidence that Elon Musk, is working for the government, putting brain chips inside of people. But we're gonna read this again, then we're gonna close out. Revelation 13:16. As a matter of fact, we're gonna read it in the NLT. And I did want to do this. He required everyone, small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to be given a mark. And then the process of the RFID microchip being implanted into the body is given to you. It says on the right hand. And when you look up the words, it put emphasis on it being on the surface. It said the surface of the skin, the surface of the body, the surface of a softer substance. It says superficial. So the mark is going to be given on the body, on the right hand, or on the forehead. And you can really write and the forehead because they want to microchip you everywhere. Why? Because it's all about control. Because not only will this be your digital wallet, digital ID, digital car key, house key, whatever you may need a badge for at work, it's going to be able to track you. The Neuralink brain chip, it's going to read your thoughts, know your secrets, know what you're thinking pretty much. But that's it here. Lord willing, it was informative, edifying. Till next time, Shalom.